Welcome to another Super Deluxe Edition unboxing video. Today we're going to take a look at the reissue of the Manic Street Preachers 2004 album Lifeblood. So we've got a few formats to look at. This is the 2 LP vinyl. As you can see, quite a glossy sleeve. We've got some foil blocking on the type, and this is actually in place on all the formats, I believe. This 2 LP set is just the album only, no bonus tracks. It's a gatefold with the familiar artwork, present and correct. As I say, it's very glossy. And this particular record comes with 2 printed inner sleeves. And there we go. Some quite groovy labels, but perhaps a bit annoying if you've actually got it on the platter and you're trying to work out what side you're looking at or what songs are on it. I suppose it does say B and A there. Now there is also a special red vinyl edition of this reissue that's available from indie stores. I think it's indie stores, maybe it's their own website, I can't remember. But unfortunately I don't have that to show you today. But this is record number 2, same sort of design. I think these might be 140 gram vinyl because they don't feel like 180. But not particularly a bad thing. I don't really mind if vinyl isn't 180, as long as it's well pressed. Sounds good. You do get quite a nice glossy booklet with this particular reissue. Very sort of clever art direction for this record. Of course, this record was only 2 singles released, and it didn't get into the top 10 the UK chart, so it's quite weird because the singles were both very successful. They both got to number 2 in the UK chart. Although that might have been because there was 3 formats of each of them. There was 2 CDs and a DVD. So it's kind of like the peak of single marketing for physical products in the UK. And a bit like with Suede, what that meant is the bands ended up delivering, the Manic Street Preachers ended up delivering a lot of extra material on the singles, which is covered in the expanded 3 CD edition, which we'll take a look at now. So here we go, this is the deluxe edition 3 CD set. Comes with the album Lifeblood, a disc of B-sides and remixes, and then the 3rd CD has unreleased stuff, some live tracks, some of the original Tony Visconti mix, because Tony Visconti originally started working on this record. I'm pleased to say this is consistent with most of the other deluxe editions that they've put out, including the Vivid Lament, Journal for Plague Lovers, and Resistance is Futile. Now I say most, for some reason they decided to do This Is My Truth, Tell Me Yours as a square shape, which was bit annoying. And of course Gold Against the Soul, which was a recent-ish reissue, that was a massive A4 book, so these two those two blot the copybook a bit, but if only they'd done everything in this side, it would have been perfect. Anyway, let's take a little look here. So got the album on CD1, all these B-sides and remixes. The 2 remixes are new, so Stephen Wilson, who some of you may be familiar with, has done a really good 80s sounding extended version of 1985. There's a 2nd remix here, Gweno mix, but then all the other tracks were from the various singles. There were only 2 singles, but as I say, there was 3 formats for each single, and there was songs on the DVD single which you couldn't get on CD or anywhere else, so it really added up. So as you can see, there's actually 12 extra studio B-sides here, which is, like another album basically, so that's brilliant. And then there's the 2 remixes, and then the demos and outtakes. It's the usual kind of stuff, live rehearsal demos, cassette demos, etc. And then some tracks from the BBC. And as I said, I haven't listened to these yet, but I'm looking forward to the Tony Visconti mixes, some of the original stuff that got rejected. So that should be quite interesting. It should be pointed out that there was a reissue of this in Japan quite a few years ago. Here's the reissue. This was part of the 4 Real Japanese Paper Sleeve series. Now this does have some tracks that isn't on here. And the reason for that is they used the B-sides from the 2 There By the Grace of God singles that came out. Basically, the 4 tracks at the beginning here on this one, Automatic Technicolor, It's All Gone, Unstoppable Salvation and Happy Ending, they were B-sides to There By the Grace of God. Now, they were placed on here, but that was from 2002, I think it was. It was the greatest hits that came out. So, you know, kind of technically it doesn't actually belong. However, they've got to go somewhere. So, you know, they obviously decided it was a good idea to put them here. By not putting them on here, they're kind of floating around, sort of unclaimed. So, sort of interesting decision. Not entirely sure if I agree with it, but yeah, so those 4 tracks on here, neither are. There was 2 remixes of There By the Grace of God, St. Etienne and Staircase mix, which you can see there on there. Again, they haven't found their way onto here. So a few little omissions, but nothing significant. And of course, there's loads of stuff on here that isn't on there. So I think the 2 things sort of maybe cancel each other out a little bit. So the 3 discs, you've got one here on the front inside cover, one on the back inside cover, and then the 3rd disc is this sort of floating folio page. There we go. Same sort of design as on the vinyl label. This is kind of what you'd expect, more pictures. There are some notes here actually. John Harris has kind of done some notes, and he kind of talks to the band. So that's quite good. So you don't actually get these. I don't know about the single disc, which we'll look at in a minute, but you don't get these as part of the vinyl. So yeah, I've always liked this particular format. You know, it keeps the cost of the product down. It just looks good. It's quite easy to put on a shelf. There are lots of products like this. You can have your collection together. So yeah, very good. So that's the 3 CD deluxe edition. And then finally, this is the single CD. Now, normally a single CD remaster is quite boring, and so not the kind of thing that the average SD reader would buy. Record companies don't make that much effort with them, but this is quite nice because it's a gatefold card wallet, so that's quite nice, and it's got some attention to detail. They haven't decided to go uber cheap on it. You've still got the foil blocking, you've still got the glossy sleeve, still a gatefold, and it's not just the album. They've added a couple of bonus tracks, which are the 2 remixes from 1985. So that's a nice touch. They didn't have to do that. They could have just made it a record, but they've given you, especially the Stephen Wilson remix is really good. So if you don't want all the extra stuff, but do fancy hearing that, then you could buy this, and that's the cheap way to get hold of it. The booklet here is like on uncoated stock, which is a bit unusual because everything else has been so glossy. You get the lyrics here, but you don't get those notes, so it does appear like those John Harris notes are exclusive to the 3 CD set. So there we have it. We've seen the 2 LP vinyl, the 3 CD deluxe book edition, and then the single CD with 2 bonus tracks in a gatefold sleeve. So I hope you've enjoyed this look at the Manic Street Preachers Lifeblood reissue. Came out on Friday, so it's available to buy now. Hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, why not subscribe to the Super Deluxe Edition YouTube channel for more great physical music unboxed. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next time.